Hey guys, it's Paul, combat veteran, MMA fighter, YouTuber, and occasional caffeine addict. Today we are taking a look at another MikeBurnFire story. This is Promotion Points. Let's get into it.
Clegg? Yo, Clegg.
Which one of you is Clegg?
Who is Clegg? Are you Clegg?
Careful, buddy.
Whoa. I just had the most amazing dream.
Don't share.
I got a medal from President Kimball himself.
Was this recorded on like a 2010 headset mic?
Wow.
That sounds great.
Actually,
and he'd do a real dick move about it too, where he'd leave the little dammits out of the back of it and just punch it into your sternum really hard.
I'm making fun of him, but when I got promoted to corporal, I teared up a little bit, so I can't say
Wow.
anything. You do that when you got...
Oh, okay. He's talking about when they used to call them like blood wings, where your rank is pin on, and so obviously like earrings, they have two little spikes in them, and so the tradition would be when you get the new rank or get your airborne wings, you place the pin-ons on your uniform, and then normally you reach into the uniform and secure the dammits. And I guess it was just hazing, right? It's low-grade hazing, was to punch the corporal rank or the airborne wings hard so that the spikes, the dammits, would pierce your skin a little bit, right? The uniforms, of course, are pretty thick, and it's not really that big a deal. But that's the sort of hazing that the Army really tried to phase out. Probably around the 2008 to 2010 time.
promoted to sergeant, did you tear up a little bit?
I never got promoted to sergeant. I was a specialist the whole time.
Well, when you got promoted to specialist, did you tear up?
No, not really, because I was just so dejected about life at that point.
Yeah, the career-long specialist. I mean, I get it. Like, for most folks, they wouldn't become eligible for sergeant until near the end of their enlistment, right? So it becomes sort of a question of, do you even want to put in the extra effort towards making sergeant, or would you rather put in that effort towards like your transition plan, like starting some college courses and getting your resume right, sending out job applications. Though again, unfortunately, a lot of people, unlike Zach, if you're sergeant material, you will usually make sergeant whether you want to or not, just by virtue of showing up on time and working hard. And I've seen a lot of the chronic career specialists tend to not have a solid plan or any plan at all when they get out. Not universally true, but almost every person who was said they were going to college and was like, no, I've applied and have an acceptance letter. They almost always already had enough points to make sergeant. But, maybe I'm just stereotyping.
I was just like, whatever, let's just get this over with.
All of your hopes and dreams had been crushed.
I did tear up a little bit when I got promoted to PFC, but then when I got promoted from PFC to specialist, I was just like, this is just an automatic promotion and I don't care.
Oh, your promotion to specialist was automatic?
Promotion from E1 to E2 to E3 and to E4 are all automatic.
All of your promotions...
Okay, they're not automatic. It's just if you have to actively screw up to fail to get them. You still have to pass your PT test, your physical fitness tests. You have to complete your mandatory training, right? You can't be have failed out of your job course, your OSIT or your basic. Or your AIT is what we used to call it. I don't know if they still do. And you can't have adverse actions, which are things like disciplinary issues. So it's not automatic. It's just as long as you keep your head down and do your job, they'll bump you to E4 at least.
From E1 to E4 came after time in service, and that's it?
Yes. Yeah, you don't have to work for them.
I understand that. I actually had to work for a corporal. That's not just time in service.
Oh, yeah, no.
A bunch of things got factored in for me. Military proficiency, all the studying I did. I actually had to work for corporal.
If I had gotten promoted to sergeant, I probably would have been relatively pleased about that, but you have to get points to get promoted.
Okay, so I'm just going to add this in my unit, and often in the military police world, again, because our fire teams are smaller, right? They're just 3-person teams. that our need for E5 sergeant level non-commissioned officers is pretty great. And it was really common that we would have soldiers who were ready to lead, right? Ready to lead a fire team. They had the maturity, they had the poise, they had the awareness, they had the intellect, but for one reason or another, never accrued what he's going to be talking about, the points necessary to actually make sergeant. Either they didn't have the time and grade, or more often they would just end up, again, as a good soldier, they just wouldn't play the points game. And the points game is like taking, literally clicking through a lot of PowerPoint trainings to get points, doing really well on your physical fitness test, completing college courses. So it'd be pretty common to have a soldier who had been, who was a real grown-up and a real, get it done kind of professional. But maybe they would be going through a bad divorce. Maybe they were coming off of an injury. Something happened in the past year that they just didn't have the time or bandwidth to get the necessary points. And in that case, we would just put in some paperwork and get them promoted to corporal. Now, bear in mind, a corporal and a specialist are the same rank, but a corporal has the authority to lead soldiers, whereas a specialist does not. A specialist usually can't boss around, for example, a private or a private first class, but a corporal can. That's sort of the meaningful distinction they're going for. It's also considered a pretty big compliment for a specialist to get corporal in the Army generally. That's usually because it means that someone was impressed by your leadership traits enough that they were like, we cannot wait for the Army to get their points system lined up and get these promotion orders cut. We need this person to lead soldiers now. And again, in a battlefield environment, that is, it's still a compliment. It still is. Just to be like, you're too young too new in your military career to be a sergeant, but we are going to give you these stripes because we need your leadership skills today.
To sergeant?
Yes, to get promoted to sergeant. At the time, the amount of promotion points you needed was 798.
Is that a lot?
The maximum is 800. Because apparently the Army had decided that they had too many 45 Bravo sergeants, and they didn't need any more. So they increased the amount of points you had to get in order to get promoted to sergeant. In order for me to get 798 promotion points, I would have had to have taken 8 years of college, maxed out my PT test, scored perfectly on rifle qualification, and pistol qualification, and machine gun qualification, and grenade qualification. Also, max out my PT test again. Basically, there was no way for me to get 798 promotion points unless I was in the military for 8 years.
If you changed your job from that MOS to a different MOS, would the score be lower? You could get to sergeant if you changed your job?
Yeah, but then I would have had to go back to a job school.
And you loved your job so much.
And I actually enjoyed doing my job. So basically, they couldn't promote me to sergeant.
Yes.
They just couldn't because I didn't have enough promotion points. They were like, there's no way we can promote you to sergeant, but we'll promote you to corporal instead. And I was like, no, thank you. I don't want something that is the exact same pay grade with no respect whatsoever.
You were already
see, he's missing the key point. And that means that when him and the specialist have a debate, he can put that specialist at parade rest. Right? They were trying to do him a solid, and he may go on to say he realized it because he seems pretty savvy. But they're trying to be like, listen, this way you can at least not get punked on by the bottom quarter of these military units, right? They're trying to do him a solid. And it would let him have subordinates, right? It would let him sit there and be like, okay, we have two specialists who are, maybe they're on profile, right? They broke their toe and they can't run or do any training with the unit, but they say, hey, Corporal Zach is going to be in charge of you here in the arms room. And suddenly he has some help.
And they were offering to promote you sideways. It's not an upgrade.
Yes.
It's just promote
it's not an upgrade at all. I don't get paid anymore, and now I have twice the responsibilities. Because I'm in charge of a squad of idiots who, because they're pissed off at me because I made them stay late and help me do stuff, they decided not to shave that morning, so I get in trouble.
I can't believe you didn't take them up on that offer.
Yeah, they tried to promote me several times. They also tried to send me to Warrior Leaders course. which the Warrior Leaders course is something else that you could do to get more promotion points. And it's 2 months. It's like going through basic training again.
Okay, Warrior Leaders course is not basic training again. No one's yelling at you. Yeah, you learn some like basic leadership skill sets. They teach you how to write an operations order. It's fine.
Sounds fun.
I mean, okay, this is maybe this is just a cultural difference, right? From logistics to military police. We, at least in our platoon, would, like, if you got honor grad at Warrior Leaders course, one, we tried to do our part as a leadership and be like, we will get you challenge coins. We're going to make sure the battalion commander recognizes you. Like, we can't pay you more, but we want to publicly acknowledge that our platoon, when we send people to Warrior Leaders course, they come and they kill it. And they laugh about it because they're like, yeah, this is all stuff we've already done. And that's part of a larger policy we had where, once we had sort of our protocols down, we knew what a mission brief was going to look like. We knew what a patrol brief needed to look like. We knew everyone had their job set. Then it became about building like what I would call depth and resiliency. And that was the idea that we were prepared for any combination of soldiers to just not be around, right? They could have gotten hurt, right, and actually been like a combat casualty. Could be something silly like they have the flu. Sometimes it was even as ridiculous as they have mandatory training they have to complete, or they have a final in their college course and they have to be logged on at a certain time. Simple stuff like that, right? They have a toothache and they have to get medevaced out to Bagram to get it treated and filled, and they're gone for 3 days. So again, you want to make sure that every role is plug and play. And again, when you're talking about a military police formation where there is, one team leader has 2 enlisted soldiers and, every 4 teams has 1 squad leader, you see how there's a lot of roles that you need to plug and play. So, what did we do? The answer is we gave everyone lots and lots and lots of opportunities to get a taste of the leadership role. Remember, as I said in an earlier video, our standard patrol briefs, a standard mounted patrol, something we did, or a mount dismount patrol, something we did 10 to 12 times a week. That patrol brief, we would have different senior specialists do it, right? And obviously, the team lead or squad leader is sitting there like this, like supervising them, right? We'd have all different team leaders run the patrol brief. Occasionally, we would have the senior team leaders be the patrol leader. Again, they would always have the squad leader there, and that squad leader, just like me, right? Even if I had a squad leader on the patrol, they're not the actual commander of the patrol, right? Everything, if I wanted something done, I am in charge of that patrol, right? It's sort of like offensive to that squad leader to boss around his squad, right? It's just not. Why would I as a platoon leader take charge of a squad? I have a squad leader. I don't need to worry about it. My job is to be the strategic vision, to ask, okay, what is the ultimate objective of this patrol? What is the intelligence we need to gather? What is the best formation in this environment, right? Okay, how do we secure this compound? How do we maneuver through this tight area, right? Those are the questions that as the platoon leader, I am supposed to and trained to think about, right? How do I explain to my boss that we need more time, we need less time, I want to get this, I want to get that, I can't do this mission without this equipment, right? Those are all the sort of things that a platoon leader needs to think about. And so in exchange, in terms of, do my vehicles have fuel? Does my, who is sitting in which seat? Are the gunners maintaining their sectors of fire, right? Are the vehicles properly spaced? I don't want to deal with it, and I have a squad leader for it. Anyway, all this to say, we try to develop those skill sets 1 level down all of the time. And the end result of doing that, in addition to like a real emphasis on the importance of college and correspondence courses for every soldier, is that by the time, and also things like writing, we really tried to get everyone to draft reports, draft intel debriefs. Again, then they would get reviewed and edited by myself and the squad leader. The result was that when we sent people to Warrior Leaders course, they kind of like laughed it off. You know, they're like, okay, we're going to teach you guys how to do a patrol brief. And our specialist would be like, yeah, we have it on a laminated card. I've done 150 of these. Let me just wipe off the marker. You know, so yeah, that was, again, to me, that's what the military should always be doing. You should always be training your replacements to be better trained than you were.
Yeah, it's 2 months of living in very small barracks and having to march everywhere and not being able to drive your car and have to go to classes and also go to your normal job because you can't go out of your normal job while you're in Warrior Leaders course. So they tried like 6 times to send me to Warrior Leaders course, and I said, no, I'm not going, and they said, well, we're going to give you a counseling if you don't go, and I said, fine, I'll fill it out. So I filled out the counseling and wrote, I'm not going to Warrior Leaders course. I already have to fix an entire battalion's worth of weapons. Do you really want me leaving for 2 months? And they sent it to the battalion commander, and the battalion commander went, why are you trying to write him up? After the 4th time, I didn't fill out the counseling that they told me I had to fill out, and I just didn't go. Didn't go to Warrior Leaders course.
Okay.
One of the other people that was in my platoon that went to Warriors Leaders course, because his promotion points were at 95, he could get his promotion points for farting. He went to the Warriors Leaders course, and they were doing roll, and they were like, Specialist Zach! Where the fuck is Specialist Zach? And he's like, he didn't show up.
They expected you to be there?
Yeah, they expected me to be there, and I just didn't go. Somebody in my chain of command was like, Zach, why didn't you report to Warrior Leaders course? And I was like, because I had a bunch of guns to fix.
That's always your fallback excuse.
That was literally always my fallback because I was the only small arms repairman. It's like if you got hired to work at a Jiffy Lube and then everybody that worked at the Jiffy Lube wasn't there anymore and you're the only person and they still expect you to go to your other job and work at Jiffy Lube. Well, I guess I'm only working at Jiffy Lube because I'm the only person here.
So did you end up getting promoted to sergeant?
No, I never.
See, okay, here, this is a larger philosophical question. It's not specifically dedicated to the military, but it's a question you always have to ask. There's this thing that happens in really complex bureaucracies like this, where cracks in the system that occur really high up, right? You have to think, the reason that ultimately an entire battalion depended entirely and exclusively on one specialist who, in their case, they got lucky, was serious about their job and committed and willing to work hard to get things done. But imagine somewhere else in Fort Polk at another battalion was like Evil Zach, right? And Evil Zach didn't give a shit, never ordered cabinets, didn't care about, right? This is just statistics, right? You're going to have a bell curve, and for every Zach, there's going to be another tail end of the bell curve in terms of hard work and dedication and foresight, right? And the problem that you run into is somewhere there's a battalion whose weapons are constantly and nonstop broken. And yeah, that is just not a way to run a military, to have no resilience to your system, right? Again, imagine that battalion deploys and then Zach gets hurt. Again, it doesn't even have to get like combat injured, right? He could get malaria and be in the hospital for 2 weeks. Well, what's going to happen? You can't fight a war with no weapons, right? So this is a function of the bureaucracy. The military's structure has failed. They have failed to allocate a sufficient small arms repair system, or they have failed to have enough resilience in that system, i.e., a backup for the battalion, an assistant small arms repairer, a second person to run these arms rooms, something to build some sort of resilience in this system. And the result is that, people like Specialist Zach have to, a different Zach may have actually gone to Warrior Leaders course and been like, I cannot be in the arms room. I am currently, as we speak, at Warrior Leader course, right? And who's going to, again, a decent unit will not fault you. They will say, no, you are at Warrior Leaders course. Our objective for you is to destroy Warrior Leaders course and come back as the honor grad of all honor grads, right? So we can flex on the other units on this post and prove to them that they are all fools. This was my outlook. So I was like, the last thing I want you to do is spend any amount of your time at Warrior Leaders course doing your day job. We will take care of it, right? So the system should protect you when you have to do this sort of stuff, when you have to cycle off for, something the Army deems essential. And the fact that it doesn't right? The fact that no, you both have to fix weapons and go to warrior leaders course is an illustration of a system failure that Zach is preventing from ever becoming an issue. Only through his tremendous self-sacrifice of his career, again, in this case he didn't care about it, but maybe he would in a different situation. Only through his self-sacrifice is he allowing this failure to never become an issue. It's never becoming a problem. Right? You can imagine that the battalion commander would probably care if the fact that their only small arms repair person went to warrior leaders course and then all their weapons were broken. So, and maybe that battalion commander would actually make some phone calls and be like, hey, you have to assign us a second small arms repair person, or you have to have a second battalion designated to do our small arms repair. There has to be a system in place when these things happen, right? The systems, bureaucracies, will only change when they are forced to. And very, very often, these people at the bottom of any bureaucracy are the ones who stretch themselves paper thin, do backflips right and left to prevent these flaws from becoming problems that the bureaucracy has to fix. And this is true in hospitals, it's true in the military, it's true in government, it's true everywhere I've ever been. And I honestly think it's a larger problem, and it prevents bureaucracies from really, really having to fix their issues and confront the issues that are intrinsic to their design.
Never got promoted to sergeant. Had an insult to injury. A couple years after I got out of the military, I was teaching small arms repair in Virginia to the military as a civilian.
Was that a nicer gig?
Oh, it was so much better. Show up for work. Didn't have to stay late because somebody screwed up.
Did it make you feel better that you would wake up as a civilian, go to the military, look at all of these military personnel having the life sucked out of them,
man,
having to sit in a class taught by you, and then you would get to leave and go home?
Oh man, it was great. And as a short aside, I did tell everyone that came through my class, pray to God you don't get sent to Fort Polk, Louisiana.
Nice.
You were warning
Pray
them.
to God. And then one week they came back, and one of them just had the most dejected look on his face. I said, what's wrong? And he goes, I'm getting sent to Fort Polk. And I was just like, you are never going to re-enlist. And he's like, that's exactly what the sergeant said when he told me that I was getting sent to Fort Polk.
I love how that's the thing that everybody says.
It's true. I mean, here's the thing. It becomes like self-defeating, right? Officially, the Army's position is that they assign you wherever there is a need, right? But in practice, that's not how that works. Like as an officer, right? They actually every year, at least when I commissioned in 2009, right? They have a national ranking of all ROTC cadets, right? The West Pointers get their own thing. So they rank everyone nationally. They look at your GPA, how you did at your training courses, your physical fitness scores, and some other factors. And they rank you entirely. Now, if you're in the top, 5 to 10%, you sort of get your pick of the litter, right? You are given priority access for your job choices and priority access for your posts. Now, obviously, reality gets a vote too. West Pointers are always going to be ahead of you. So the most desirable posts, right, are things like Germany, Hawaii, a lot of certain high octane career people want to go to Fort Bragg because that's the most elite regular line unit. So again, there's an art and a science to picking posts, right? And I actually requested Fort Riley because I wanted to avoid the Fort Polks of the world. Because here's the other thing. When you say my top 3 are Germany, Italy, and Hawaii, the Army goes, yeah, buddy, you and everybody else on Earth. And then they assign you wherever you want. But if you have a specific request that's a little off the beaten path, they'll actually try to do it for you. So if you go, hey, I love helicopter operations, right? I want to go to Fort Campbell. Okay. Why did I choose Fort Riley? Fort Riley was actually not in the boonies, right? My fear was that I would be stuck in the true middle of nowhere with nothing around. And in fact, Fort Riley is adjacent to a major university, one of the largest. It's actually right next to the University of Kansas, which meant that I was going from college to basically back to college, but I was making a shitload more money and working a lot harder. But I really gamed the system pretty well. But here's the thing. Everyone avoids Fort Polk because they hate it, because everyone knows the reputation. Fort Polk is hell. And the result is that you almost never get good leadership at Fort Polk, thereby making Fort Polk even worse, right? Likewise, enlisted have almost the same thing, though it's a little less formalized, right? You get to negotiate, you can call in favors, right? There's a lot of sort of gamesmanship at work if you want to avoid an assignment to Fort Polk, right? The classic one that they always said, people who were at Fort Riley actually really liked it, especially if you had a family. It was the school districts were good, the housing was really affordable and nice, people were super kind, and the unit had a good balance between hard charging and doing work, but recognizing that, soldiers deserve to spend time with their families, right? The Army asks a lot, and so you would routinely get, the 4-day weekends. There was no culture where it was seen as being like, you weren't proving your toughness by making your soldiers stay late, right? Like releasing people at 5, nobody was going to give you crap for it. It was a good post and a good culture. But people would say, man, I don't want to leave Fort Riley, but I have to reassign bases. They would volunteer for Korea tours. They would go to Korea for a year, and then after a year, they'd say, wow, thanks for doing that hard Korea assignment. Where do you want to go next? And they go, Fort Riley sounds nice. And the Army would just send them right back, right? The same sort of games people will play just to avoid Fort Polk. They'll volunteer for assignments. They'll do a Korea tour. They'll do anything to get out of old Fort Polk. And the result is that the only people who get assigned there are people who have no friends that they can call in favors for, so they're reviled, or they're so incompetent that the Army just assigns them to the last post available. The result, of course, makes Fort Polk even worse, right? Look again at like Alaska, a place that's like not pretty inhospitable, but Alaska people love Alaska, and the result is that people keep wanting to go to Alaska because, again, you get this virtuous cycle of people who are there and want to stay there, competent leaders who seek it out, make the post better, meaning more people want to be there, making it more desirable. You see what I mean?
Oh, it's the most horrible place ever. Anyway, I was talking to one of the E4s about, don't worry about doing well on your PT test because you're never going to get promoted to sergeant. No. And he was like, yeah, I will. And I was like, no, you won't. Promotion points are like 798 for that. And he was like, no, I'm getting promoted to sergeant as soon as I leave from here because the promotion points are like at 93.
Did you think it was in a different job?
No, because after I got out of the military, apparently all of the small arms repairmen got out of the military because they couldn't get promoted to sergeant. The Army went, holy crap, we need E5 small arms repairmen. Reduce the promotion points down to 95 and get them up there. The Army is constantly doing this thing where they say, we have too many E5s, make the promotion points maximum. All the E5s get out, and then the Army goes, we don't have any E5 small arms repairmen. Just drop the promotion points down to 0. If one of them farts in formation, make him an E5.
Do you think you could have gotten a sergeant if that were the case? If the promotion points were at 98?
Easily.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You never considered yourself to be an exemplary soldier, though.
No, but at least then I may have gotten some respect from other NCOs when they came down to get their weapons fixed. Instead of them looking at me and going, he's a specialist, he doesn't know anything.
Corporal would have solved that.
Then maybe I would have had some NCOs go, oh, you're also an NCO. I got your back, bro. Let me help you fix these guns.
Well, in the Marine Corps, E4s were NCOs too, so if you had joined the Marine Corps, you might have gotten a little more respect too.
Yeah, but if
They offered to make him an NCO? What is he talking about?
joined the Marine Corps, I would have been a 2111.
And
I would have had to fix SMAWs. Marines get cooler stuff.
Okay, guys, that is absolutely not true. Marines get older stuff. They almost always get older stuff. And it's almost universally terrible. That's it. No further commentary. The Army gets better equipment, period. Full stop. Even the Marines will admit it. The only thing the Marines had that is really nice, really just a cut above the Army, is their largest rucksack. It's the IBLE. It's awesome. Designed by Arc'teryx, a super, super elite high-end outdoor gear company. It's tall. It fits great on your back. The Army did their, it's called the Molly 2 large rucksack, and they designed that in-house, and it is a monument to compromise. The original frames were lightweight plastic, a advanced polymer compound, but literally if you filled the ruck up, held it above your head, and just dropped it, the first version of the Molly 2 would crack in half. Which you have to think, it's a combat rucksack. That is standard for how it's treated. These rucksacks are thrown on and off a truck routinely. It was a total disaster, and definitely a testament to the fact that sometimes, especially for individual grunty gear, the Marine Corps is definitely they don't get nicer stuff, but they are way smarter about how they acquire gear. I mean, look, they came up with a digital camouflage, and they realized that the right number of uniforms to have was 2, desert and jungle. And that was just a brilliant call relative to the Army that was like, we can do it in 1, and the result was hot garbage.
Went the Marines.
Yeah, I figure you should join the Marine Corps because you got to go big or go home, right?
No, I joined the Army because my grandpa was in the Army.
Well, so was mine, but I'm better than my grandpa. That's just kidding. He was a World War II vet. I respect him greatly.
The greatest generation.
Yes. We are way off topic
We're
here.
so far off topic now. I don't know where you're going to put that audio.
I'll just have that entire long story while we're staring at Corporal Clegg.
Cut all of this out. This is all pointless.
Corporal Clegg, I wanted to talk to you, maybe learn what your point of view was, but I'm so tired now, I need to go take a nap. We'll be back tomorrow.
Okay, I love the fact that it ended with him being so tired he needs a nap. Definitely, even sometimes just remembering how exhausted you are all the time in the military, your body is just like, you should take a nap in case you're that tired again at any point in your life. Okay, I have more stories, but so do they, so I'm going to save them for later. Guys, be sure to, first off, hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell to make sure you get updated. I'm going to try to work through at least one of these stories a week. Also, if you want to support the channel even more, you can become a member. That's that join button right next to the subscribe button. Channel members get to vote on my Friday videos, submit requests for what I watch on Friday. They get priority access to rooms on the Discord, and they even get priority to party with me when I stream multiplayer games. So if you want to support the channel, that's a great way to do it. Otherwise, be sure to check out the merch store, join the Discord. All the links are in the comments. And until next time, I will see you guys later.